opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program host and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by TCN TV Network Incorporated. Due to the social nature of this broadcasting channel, videos may contain content copyrighted by another entity or person. The TCN TV Network claims no rights to the said content. TCN TV Network cannot be held accountable for the copyrighted content. TCN TV Network is a messenger and sharer of information and strives to verify but cannot warrant the accuracy of copyrights or completeness of the information on this program.
Good evening and welcome to On Point, your number one political and current affairs talk show program. We're very happy to be broadcasting to you once again this evening from here in the beautiful city of Brampton, here in the TCN studios. Coming up on the show, we take a look at the upcoming 43rd general election. We're going to take a look at the battleground seat of Brampton East. On the program later, we'll have Miss Ramona Singh, who is the Conservative Party of Canada's candidate seeking to be the next Member of Parliament in Brampton East. Also, we'll have Miss Maninder Sidhu, who is the Liberal candidate hoping to keep that seat for the Liberals. With us this evening, we have Mr. Mario Russo, downtown Brampton businessman, as well as political commentator, coming back to join us. Mario, good to have you as usual.
Thank you as always.
And we have the businesswoman, Miss Tina Larson, who is also operates a very successful business here in Brampton and does lots of volunteer work for the community. Tina, always good to have you.
Thank you so much.
So let's get to it. Miss Ramona Singh and Mr. Maninder Sidhu will join us a little bit later in the program. But as we prepare for the upcoming election, many things continue to grab the headlines, and we want to talk with you about some of them. First up, breaking news today, Mario, the NDP seemed to have a massive hit today when 14 leaders with the NDP party in New Brunswick decided that they will no longer give their support to the NDP but will join the Green Party. These were candidates who ran at the municipal level in New Brunswick, but considering that the NDP has no candidate confirmed in New Brunswick as yet, no doubt they were looking for some of these candidates to run at the federal level. How much of a blow is this? You want to start us, Tina? How much of a blow is this to Jermaine Singh and the NDP?
I would say it's a big change. Even I was surprised over it. It's a big blow. I'm not surprised about them moving to the Green Party, just because of Atlantic Canada. I think they are really into the environment. It's a big discussion down there. But losing 14 of them, I mean, that's big.
Mario, the NDP leaders in New Brunswick were very concerned that as leader of the NDP, Jermaine Singh has not visited New Brunswick since 2017 when he ran for the leadership. How do you want to be leader of Canada and in 2 years you have not visited a province like New Brunswick?
The NDP have been taking some serious blows over the last few weeks for sure. To your point of Jermaine Singh not visiting, I think it's crucial that you're all over. I mean, the leader needs to be in every province, almost multiple times per week if possible. It's a big task, especially the size of Canada. But you need to make people feel that you're truly going to be representing them. One of the things that from that takeaway of people jumping from NDP to Green, I've been looking at some of the numbers and the only parties that seem to be almost running a full slate are the CPC, the Conservative Party, and the PPC. The Liberals, the Liberals are still need approximately 50 to 60 candidates. The NDP are running under 140 candidates.
Wow.
So these are things that are that starts to get the momentum going in one direction or the other. So I think that's, when you're not able to even fill seats. That being said, politically, there may be appointments that are going to be done very forthcoming or very soon, but it just goes to show you that the momentum doesn't seem to be with some parties at this point in time. In Brampton, we're fortunate to have, I'm pretty sure, all the seats filled at this point in time.
Yeah, with all the major candidates.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Major parties have filled all the seats in Brampton. But I want to look at this deflection a little bit more here. Is it too late now for Jagmeet to go back as leader, to have a talk with some of these provincial leaders to say, hey, listen, let's come back in the family, let's do this? And are there some differences between the NDP and the Greens? I mean, the NDP has a lot more seats in Parliament right now. You know, are these guys so confident that the Greens will break through that they were willing to make this shift?
Well, I'm not a big pollster type of fan, but a poll that I saw over the weekend showed the Green Party actually polling higher than the NDP.
Wow.
This is something that, you know, again, the one problem that I find with polls is that it starts to becoming, that perception becomes reality sometimes. And I don't know if that had something to do with some of these defectors going to the other side. I don't know if there's internal politics. I mean, obviously, maritime issues differ from Ontario and from BC and so forth. But it's one of those things that policies don't tend to be very similar, but there may be just again the more going towards an opposition. They want to be an official opposition to an extent, right?
Let's jump to another one. The NDP, we were on last week, we were looking at the different slogans for the parties. The NDP did not have a slogan out when we looked last week, but now there's a slogan that the NDP have put together. Tina, your thoughts on this NDP slogan? Can we put that on the screen? It's
Time.
in for you. So the NDP's new slogan for this campaign, in it for you. They're saying to Canadians that they're in it for you. How catchy is that slogan? Does it speak to us as Canadians?
I mean, of course, it is catchy, but to me, I don't think their policy or even their policies or what they're saying out there even come close to that, because they say one thing and do another, and so I don't think that it's going to work for them.
In it for you, Mario?
Slogans are slogans. I mentioned this last week. Is that you're trying to just get that catchphrase and so forth. In it for you. I hope they're all in it for us. So it really stems to do people feel that the NDP party represent the majority of Canadians? I'm not sure. I guess, again, like everything in this show or in politics, it all depends on people coming out and voting.
All right, let's look for another one. The Liberals are having some challenges of themselves. Over the weekend, we had a chat last week with MP Ramesh Sangha, but over the weekend, apparently he appeared on another show and was calling out his party. Liberal backbencher says, accuses his own party of pandering to Sikh separatists. Now, this is a bit of a touchy issue, a bit of a challenging issue. You know, Canada is made up largely of a big immigrant population. But you know, in many circles, most times a lot of the immigrants who are here are still actively involved in the running of politics back in their home countries. And unfortunately, sometimes we're seeing that individuals back in those home countries are also seeking to influence politics here in Canada. How concerned, Tina, should Canadians be? You know, I mean, you know, we are an immigrant population, but it's an importance for us to let Canada's sovereignty stand, ensuring that, you know, people abroad are not influenced our elections
and
locally.
this is one of the things that go to heart for me. Being a Dane, I'm an immigrant. I have to pick a country. Denmark does not share ownership with anybody else, per se. So my politics obviously belong to Canada, and this is where I live, I grow, I have built my business, my kids go to school here, I own homes here. So my heart goes to Canada, and obviously we try and live as Canadian as we can. Do I agree with maintaining heritage? Yes, but when it comes to politics, I don't think another country has a business in our politics. Vice versa, Canada shouldn't be trying to promote business abroad either. Like, I think it's very dangerous. And what happens is, from the business side also, we create trade wars that are misunderstood, perhaps. So sometimes countries get mad at us. So we're doing a lot of import and exporting in Canada, and suddenly we put our nose in something that maybe we should have held back on and maybe had a more private conversation about it, or vice versa, or Prime Minister, who should be greeted with the leader of the country he goes and visits and doesn't get greeted. That's a big oops to me, and we should be respected out there and demand that respect. And if we're meddling, we're not going to get that. So it's very important to not meddle.
We have one more we'll go to before the break. This one was a big talk over the weekend as well, over last week. That this baby referred to as the baby killer. There were talks, Mario, that there were active conversations between England and Canada to take in this gentleman who was charged as a 10-year-old for killing another baby. Since he grew up, has been found to be in possessions of all sort of child pornographic material and stuff like that. They have been trying to give him a new identity. It has not been working out in the UK because people keep finding out his new identity and revealing that. So they came up with a plan to send him off to somewhere, and Canada was on the top list of places for him to come. Now, we have seen this Trudeau government taken some high-profile refugee claimants. Was this a good consideration?
From my perspective, this is insanity at its finest. The fact that we're even contemplating on bringing people to Canada that have criminal records, it just lends itself to why the immigration issue is so touchy at this point in time. Is the fact that we have, I'm a son of an immigrant. We have an immigrant on the panel, two, I believe. And one of the things is that we need that in Canada. It's what makes us. However, we need people that are law-abiding. We need people that don't make us question our safety. And in this program, all we've been talking about over several programs is public safety, as has been the point of contention from a municipal to a federal issue. And the fact that we're even contemplating this is insane. That passport should be completely renounced.
Stay with us. This is On Point. When we come back, Mr. Maninder Sidhu, the Liberal candidate from Brampton East, join us. Stay with us.
At Benjamin Law, we understand the real cost of personal injuries. As the victim of an accident, you may be the one who's physically hurt, but your main concern is that your family are the ones who will pay the price. Benjamin Law will be there for you, helping, supporting, and working tirelessly to resolve your personal injury case. Call 1-855-899-4878 or visit benjaminlaw.ca and let our family of lawyers help your family.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
My name is Trish Curling, and I am an online coach, personal trainer, and yoga teacher, and your new host of Shaping Life, which is all about understanding that we have the ability and the control to take charge of our health and wellness. But we can't do it alone, and I can't wait to sit down with the best in the industry. Please tune in every Friday at 1 p.m. live here on the TCN Network.
Welcome back to On Point, your number one political and current affairs talk show program, broadcasting you live from the city of Brampton. We have joining us this evening Mr. Maninder Sidhu. Maninder, welcome to On Point. Good to have you on the program.
Thank you so much, Jermaine.
All right, and you are the Liberal candidate running in Brampton East.
I am.
Correct. Great, great. All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself, Maninder. A bit about your background, your skills and experience that you bring to this position, seeking to be the candidate in the MP in Brampton East.
For sure. First, I want to thank our host Jermaine here for inviting me here today. It was very nice of you to donate your time.
Good to have you.
So, my name is Maninder Sidhu. As Jermaine was saying, I am the Liberal Party candidate for Brampton East. I have been living in Brampton for 30 years now. I grew up here. I was raised here. I only left Brampton to attend the University of Waterloo. Came back to Brampton, got married here, have my own 2 small children in Brampton. I'm a homeowner in Brampton. So what I'm trying to say is I'm a Brampton boy.
All right. Good.
Yeah. For the past 11 years, I've been working on my custom brokerage business. I started it about 11 years ago. What we do is we consult using international trade agreements that we have with various countries, and we go and consult businesses that import across Canada.
Okay.
So that's what I've been working on for the past 11 years. My wife and I started our own charity called the Kindness Movement about 5 years ago.
The Kindness Movement.
The Kindness Movement.
Tell me about that. Yeah.
So a little bit about that. We go to India quite often, and there's village schools in India.
Okay.
They don't have AC, they don't have fans, and they don't have cold drinking water. Okay. And in a climate like India, where the temperature can go as high as 45 degrees, it's very uncomfortable. Yeah. So my wife is a school teacher, and we felt for the children, and what we do there is we install water fountains with coolers in them so they can have access to cold water. You know, we live in a beautiful country where we can turn on the tap and we can have access to cold water. You know, in that country we don't. We also do charity work with the less fortunate here in Canada, the homeless. Okay. We give out care packages every winter, blankets, earmuffs, gloves. So we do what we can to give back. I feel like it's very important to teach that value for my children and our community, just so we can make our community better.
So it sounds as if you run a successful business, Maninder. What drove you then into, I mean, you could stay in your business, you could make some good money, you could fly back to India or to somewhere else and take good vacations with your family. What drives you into getting into politics? Why this at this time for you?
Why at this time is I live a comfortable life. And what I'm noticing is I want to ensure young, ambitious Bramptonians have the opportunities to succeed right here in Brampton like I did. We need more resources, more programs for our young people in Brampton to ensure they stay in Brampton. The reason being, you know, we see a lot of people commuting to Toronto, a lot of people commuting to Kitchener-Waterloo. I believe if we can have the resources for young people here in Brampton, they would have the option to stay in Brampton and maybe start their own careers here in Brampton. Okay.
So to that end, you know, what are some of the ideas, some of the plans, you know, should you become Member of Parliament for Brampton East, what could the people there look forward to? Any kind of specifics you can point us to as to some of the things that you would want to see to improve the life of that community in Brampton East?
Exactly. So I'd like to see a youth center, per se, or a startup hub where youth with ideas can go to. They can get advice from professionals. There can be professional development programs, mentorship opportunities, a place where you can go apply for grants, get help, get consulting help from the government. So this could be a government-funded program where we can start. You know, a flower starts with one seed. If we start off small, invest into that, invest into our future where youth can go get advice, and one business can flourish. Kitchener-Waterloo started from 1-2 businesses, right? They have a population of 600,000 people. Here in the Peel region, we have a population of 1.3 million roughly, and that's not including our neighbors in Vaughan, Brampton East neighbors. So if they can do it with a population of 600,000 people, I believe that we have the opportunities and the young, talented individuals in Brampton East to do that as well. Okay,
let's look at some of the issues here, Maninder, that you know are big questions in this concern. First of all, do you believe in climate change?
Oh, of course. I have small children, and I am always thinking about their future and on ways how we can reduce our waste. And climate change is a huge issue in our family. We teach them every day.
Okay. And do you think that the carbon tax as proposed by your current government is the best way for us to deal with the effects of climate change?
Absolutely. Listen, we've got to start changing our habits somewhere. We can't say, you know, it's too expensive now. We've got to start thinking 10, 20, 30 years from now, what's happening? It's a fact. Climate change is there, and we need to be there to support it.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about, again, you know, your leader, Justin Trudeau, was in some challenges recently with the Ethics Commission and stuff like that. You are coming in as a candidate in Brampton East because of some issue with the other previous candidate. What are some of the strong points that you would bring to the people of Brampton East? What would you say are some of the strong qualities that they should consider that would differentiate you, for example, from other, even from, you know, there were some other issues surrounding the other MP who was there. Talk to us about some of your strong qualities that you are bringing to the position that people should consider when they're thinking about in Brampton East. Who should we really vote for? You know, what are some strong qualities that Maninder would present to them that they can have the confidence in saying, yes, we're going to vote Liberal again in that area?
Great question.
Yeah.
So I've been running my business for the past 11 years. I'm a very positive, upbeat person. I don't believe in negative politics. I believe in helping the future of our youth and our young people. I really, truly believe in Brampton. That's why I've been here for over 30 years. I honestly have never left. I wouldn't have left had we have a university in Brampton, but unfortunately I had to leave. And my positive attitude in regards to the youth and the future of our young people should stand out above all else.
Okay.
We have one of the youngest ridings in Ontario. The average age is 35 years old. I'm 35.
Yeah.
So I can relate with the constituents.
Yeah.
We have young families. I have a young family. I know the cost to raise a young family, and which leads to the Canada Child Benefits Program. It's those payments help a lot in our riding.
Okay.
It's close to $7,000 is given to the average family in our riding, which is a big amount, and it's tax-free. So that helps young families in our riding, and that I respect the Liberal government for.
Okay. You mentioned, for example, the fact that you had to leave to go to school somewhere else. In Waterloo, for example, there's no university in Brampton. By and large, universities are normally the prerogative of the provincial government. But we have heard quite a few candidates, who have mentioned that, do you see yourself being able to, if elected as a federal MP, working with your provincial counterparts to make that a reality? Because we didn't seem to be able to get that during the last term of this parliament, despite the fact that we had 5 Liberals MPs who were there. How do you see yourself being able to influence anything in that area to bring that much needed tertiary institution presence in Brampton?
Absolutely. I want to advocate for a university here in Brampton. My parents had to pay a lot of money for me to stay at the University of Waterloo, to attend the University of Waterloo. It's a lot of stress and resources from families. If we can bring a university into Brampton, it's going to help the students, it's going to help the youth, it's going to help our families, and that's something I definitely want to advocate for. Because if you can start a university, it's a learning center. It's kind of a hub for the youth to go to and grow from there. I know the federal government and the city almost had it approved. They did have it approved, and then the province came in and axed that plan. But what the federal government stepped up and did was very, very commendable. They stepped up. They partnered with Ryerson, Rogers, City of Brampton.
Center of Cybersecurity.
The Cybersecurity Center. That's going to bring 800 good-paying jobs, plus skills training for future youth and young people to get involved into that sector. So that's a great achievement. Even though the university was cancelled, the federal government found a way to still work with the Ryerson University and bring something to the city of Brampton.
Awesome. So let's talk about some numbers. Your current MP sitting over there racked up about 23,000 votes. I'm sure you'd have looked at the numbers. Some 23,000 votes in 2015. Coming closest to them was the Conservatives with about 10,600 votes. So you're going into there with a comfortable lead in terms of the vote tally, almost about 13,000 votes. How confident are you that you will take this election over there in Brampton East?
We're confident in terms of, not because of the polling and the numbers, we're confident because what we hear at the doors. Okay. People are happy with the Liberal government. Creating 1 million jobs since 2015, the lowest poverty rate in history, the lowest unemployment rate in 40 years. Not many governments can say that. Yeah. And when we go to the doors, we hear a lot of positive things about the Liberals, what they've done in 4 years, and what we want to do in the next 4 years. So the numbers are there, yes, it's good to look at them, but we don't want to stop working hard. We're still going door to door. We're still coming out, meeting all our constituents, saying hi, introducing myself.
As you mentioned that, we're about to wrap up in the last second here. How can the people out there in Brampton East, those across Brampton and across Canada who might watch this program see you, how can they connect with you? Do you have a social media website? How can they connect with you if they want to get involved?
So we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter under the handle of Sidhu Liberal. Our office is located at 510 Deerhurst Road in Brampton, unit number 3. Feel free to stop in. We're always looking for new volunteers and new youth to get involved in our campaign.
Okay. Maninder, thank you so much for coming in. We are out of time. We wish you all the best over there in Brampton East. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
This is On Point. Stay tuned with us when we come back. Miss Ramona Singh, who is the Conservative candidate in Brampton East, who is also in this battle for Brampton East, will join us. Stay with us right here on Point.
At Benjamin Law, we understand the real cost of personal injuries. As the victim of an accident, you may be the one who's physically hurt, but your main concern is that your family are the ones who will pay the price. Benjamin Law will be there for you, helping, supporting, and working tirelessly to resolve your personal injury case. Call 1-855-899-4878 or visit benjaminlaw.ca and let our family of lawyers help your family.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
With so many newspapers within the community, it's sometimes hard to tell what separates us from the rest. Most of the time, they all brag about the same thing. You know, the large circulations, tons of online views, and it can go on and on. But what really separates the Toronto Caribbean newspaper apart from everybody else? Well, it's simple. Our service. No, seriously. Hi, I'm Grant Browning, founder and CEO of the Toronto Caribbean newspaper. I have over 20 years of branding and marketing experience, and I've worked with countless companies and corporations to do one thing, and that is to raise their profits with their brand. With over 40 years of combined experience in branding and marketing, our amazing staff is fully prepared to sit down and figure out exactly what you need to stand out from your competitors.
The reason why you don't see that anymore is because
the ad is too powerful, bring too much people.
So what are you waiting for? Give us a call today. We'll be happy to help.
Welcome back to On Point, your political and current affairs talk show program. We are broadcasting live from the studios here at the TCN network in the beautiful city of Brampton. And we have joining us Miss Ramona Singh. Ramona, welcome.
Thank you for having me on the show. I'm super excited.
Well, thanks for coming on. It's good to have you. Ramona, you're running to be the next member of parliament in Brampton East.
Correct.
We just heard from Mr. Sidhu. But before we talk about Tamara, tell us a little bit about yourself, a bit about your background. Let the people in Brampton East, as the time runs as well, the people in Brampton East know a little bit about who you are.
Absolutely. I am a small business owner in telecommunications for about 13 years. Previous to that, I was a federal government employee at Correctional Service of Canada. Okay. My education is in police foundations, as well as a bachelor's in criminology, criminal justice, and law. And so it's been great to have the experience in both the public sector as well as the private sector. I also was fortunate enough to work overseas in London, England, as well as in Germany and Netherlands, and be in fintech and in the international corporate environment. So I have a good understanding of what my constituents go through, whether they work in the public sector or the private sector, because of my exposure to it. And I think I'm best fit to be able to fulfill the role because of my understanding of where Canada fits, not only on a global scale, but also on a local level. In Brampton, also, I'm an immigrant. Okay. I migrated to Canada when I was 8 years old with my family. Okay. I come from a multi-ethnic, multilingual, multicultural family. My father's Indian, my mother is Iranian, okay. And migrated here after the Gulf War in Iran. So having early memories of like bomb shelters and mass evacuation out of Tehran made me realize how important the law of your country is. In a sense where, your prosperity, your livelihood, everything matters on the law of the country that you live in. That's why, it's very important. I take this role very seriously to be able to uphold, Canadian values and the Canadian judicial system and the rule of law. Okay. So quite a bit of experience here that you bring to the table. So let's get a little bit into it, because you also do some community work. I see that you have a community organization, Kohan, that does a bit of
Health Advisory Network.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that community work that you do.
Absolutely. I sit on the board of COHAN, which does outreach for seniors. Seniors are actually a very soft spot in my heart. I don't have grandparents anymore, so yeah. So it's and what we do is we do a lot of outreach and training for seniors that are suffering from Alzheimer's and dementia, as well as CHATS, which is another organization that I sit on the advisory board that does a lot of outreach again for a lot of seniors. I also have started the PC Youth Association in Brampton. It's the first and only, and so it's great to have a lot of youth involved. And they're actually very supportive of the fact that I reached out to them. I said, you know, what are some of the things that worry you about not only just living here in Brampton or the province of Ontario, but in Canada, and then giving them the platform to be able to mobilize and to create their own association and have the proper funding to, you know, to be advocates really at their young age.
So should you become the Member of Parliament for Brampton East, Ramona, talk to us about, you know, your vision. What are some of the things that you would want to see in Brampton East, in Brampton on a larger scale? What are some of those, probably two of those big issues that you would want to work on or to champion as a Member of Parliament for Brampton East?
Absolutely. I think there's the government that gives annually, there's about 5 to 6 government departments, buildings that are granted to municipalities. Brampton has received almost none other than a Service Canada. So when you look at our neighbors in Peel, such as Mississauga, they have Canada Revenue Agency, they have immigration, citizenship, and refugee services, where we don't have any of those federal government jobs. So I'd be a big advocate to make sure that we're able to bring that into Brampton, because one of the biggest concerns is that Brampton has become, you know, a bedroom community where people are traveling, you know, to other municipalities for work and for everything else. I think also one of the biggest, and I would be amiss to say this, you did ask me for 2, but I'm going to just extend it another one. Affordability is huge. There's 28,000 doors in Brampton East, and affordability comes up consistently, whether it's a property tax, whether it's insurance, on different levels of government, of course, but the carbon tax that's made everything more expensive, that doesn't actually reduce emissions. And so those are important things. And the third being community safety. Bramptonians don't feel safe as they tune into news at the escalations of literally everything. And that falls under federal jurisdiction, because what we've seen with this government is that they've made things such as minimum sentences for gun-related crimes, they've removed it. Right, so we're seeing people going in a revolving door into the judicial system, and this is something that we have to tackle.
Okay, so we get to that. Well, since you mentioned the community safety as well and bring that issue up, I mean, there are some who would say that, you know, you put the power back into the hands of the judges, because with that, when there are mandatory minimum sentences, it takes away discretion. So how would you respond to those who say, you know, the judges need to have some discretion since they're the ones hearing the case and seeing the cases?
So I believe in standardization when it comes to such as your country and the rule of law. There needs to be a standardization for if you commit a certain crime. Processes are very important, such as in our immigration system, processes are important. Same with our judicial system, that if you commit a crime, the police are doing their job, right? The police need more funding and tools to do their job. But once somebody who's been not convicted has been charged of a crime, the discretion a judge has is obviously everything other than the minimum sentence, but nobody actually serves their full sentence. I worked for Correctional Service of Canada, specifically in employability programs, and looked into many files on how we process it internally as well. People don't serve their full sentence. They come out whether on good behavior, on parole, there's parole boards. So minimum sentences are actually very important.
All right, sure. So let's touch on another issue.
As a deterrence, because people should actually fear committing a crime or reoffending.
Okay, fair enough. So you mentioned, for example, the carbon tax that doesn't work. So question for you, I just asked Mr. Sidhu, who was here earlier, the same question. I asked you, do you believe in climate change?
Absolutely.
And what is the best way for us to deal with climate change, particularly our environment, our planet?
Absolutely. The best way to deal with climate change is, of course, addressing the problem. So Canada's contribution to emissions, the global emissions, is 1.6%. So it's less than 2%. What we do need to do is we need to come up with a global solution, which is what the Conservative Party has put forward, to make sure that Canadian companies are able to put a solution, not just for Canada, but also for the global economy, and have countries like US, China, India, who are the biggest polluters, be able to use our resources in the green space. So that's really important. I do not believe that a carbon tax, whether it's 4 cents on the liter, that might jump to 23 cents on the liter based on what the Liberals will do. God forbid they get back into power, because they haven't committed to what they're going to charge per ton of emissions. I don't believe that, because what they're doing is they're actually taxing 92% of it is families. So we're driving, like today, you drove your daughter to school, you're paying for that. And 8% of that goes to the big polluters. And then on top of that, they're saying, so I have to still drive my vehicle. I don't have a subway, I don't have an LRT, I don't have infrastructure to support me not driving my vehicle. On top of that, you are going to give me the money back, so it doesn't change my behavior. And it's a fallacy to tell me that I'm actually doing something for the environment because I'm still emitting the same emissions.
Good. Another question for you here, Ramona. We're running low on time here. So the current member of parliament in Brampton East is not running again. There were some questions about some behaviors and some stuff there. We also see the Prime Minister who also has some issues in terms of breaking ethics rules as ruled by the Ethics Commissioner. To the people of Brampton East who are concerned, that they almost lost an MP, what are some of the qualities that you think you would bring to them that they can have the confidence in voting for you to be the next representative?
What people of Brampton East are looking for is somebody who's going to listen to them, who's going to advocate for them, not just on Parliament Hill, but at Queen's Park, as well as the city of Brampton. That's what they want. They want transparency. They want respect at the end of the day, because they don't want to be treated that we just show up to their doors for election and then they disappear. So I tell them very respectfully, I say, you have my phone number. I am more than happy to come to any event. I'm more than happy to come to your home. Anything arises, my door's always open, because at the end of the day, it's your constituents that you represent. And this is what they want to see. Already, they're very skeptical of politicians. So the more you're in touch with your constituents, the more you have that FaceTime, and that's really what the difference is. And really, they just want somebody who's going to do the job.
Okay. And with that, how can they connect with you? Do you have, where can they reach you? How can who can they see your message, see your platform as we're up against the time here?
Absolutely. You can call me at my phone number, 647-400-7000. Alternatively, you can email me at info@ramonasingh.ca. You can look at me, write to me, whatever the case is on social media. It's at Ramona Today. That's my tag on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. So I'd be happy to hear from you. I'd be happy to visit you, and I'd be happy if you want to join the campaign.
One final question here for you, Ramona. I'm looking at the numbers from last election. The Liberals came out, currently represent that seat at 23,000 votes. The Conservatives were lagging behind with 10,000 votes. Almost a 13,000 lead. How will you overcome this drawback from the last election to now? How will you talk to the people to overcome and to pull off this victory?
So Justin Trudeau, our Prime Minister, has made it very easy for me. As I hit every door, a lot of people are upset. If it's not about our community safety, it's about immigration, or it's about marijuana. Whatever the case is, there's at least 1 or 2 points people are upset about this government, and they want change. And what they want is they want to know that what the other parties are going to do, and that's the message I bring door to door. So this election is going to be different because now they've actually had a term with Justin Trudeau in power.
Okay. All right, Ramona Singh, thank you so much for coming in. We wish you all the best over in Brampton East. Thanks again, and we look forward to having you another time on the show.
Thank you so much.
This is On Point. Stay with us. When we come back, we discuss further things as it relates to the upcoming 43rd general election. This is On Point. Stay with us.
With so many newspapers within the community, it's sometimes hard to tell what separates us from the rest. Most of the time, they all brag about the same thing. The large circulations, tons of online views, and it can go on and on. But what really separates the Toronto Caribbean newspaper apart from everybody else? Well, it's simple. Our service. No, seriously. Hi, I'm Grant Browning, founder and CEO of the Toronto Caribbean newspaper. I have over 20 years of branding and marketing experience, and I've worked with countless companies and corporations to do one thing, and that is to raise their profits with their brand. With over 40 years of combined experience in branding and marketing, our amazing staff is fully prepared to sit down and figure out exactly what you need to stand out from your competitors.
The reason why you don't see that anymore is because
The ad is too powerful, bring too much people.
So what are you waiting for? Give us a call today. We'll be happy to help.
My name is Trish Curling, and I am an online coach, personal trainer, and yoga teacher, and your new host of Shaping Life, which is all about understanding that we have the ability and the control to take charge of our health and wellness. But we can't do it alone, and I can't wait to sit down with the best in the industry. Please tune in every Friday at 1 p.m. live here on the TCN Network.
welcome back to On Point, your political and current affairs talk show program. We are broadcasting to you live from the TCN Network studios here in the 9th largest city, the best city to live in, the city of Brampton. Mario, Brampton East. We just had a chance to talk with Mr. Maninder Sidhu as well as Ms. Ramona Singh. A tough riding over there, in the last federal election, 2015, the Liberals took that seat, some 23,652 votes. That's the party that Mr. Maninder Sidhu is running to represent. Ramona, the Conservatives got 10,642 votes. The NDP was about 10,400. What are your thoughts on, look at these numbers going into this election?
I think you can take those numbers and throw them all out the window.
Really?
For the sheer reason of this is that I think at that time there was a red wave that came over Brampton. I don't think that same red wave, not to say that they won't all win their seats, but I don't think the same feeling of confidence is there. That being said as well, is I think also the candidates that are all running are all strong candidates in Brampton East. Ramona Singh has been campaigning for over a year. It's a strong Liberal seat, but it's also a strong NDP seat. So I think if for a true student of the game in politics, it's one of the most interesting ridings in Brampton, if not Canada. It's got so much permutations and different things that can happen. I think that's going to come down to the wire, and it all depends on how the NDP candidate presents himself. He was on this show, presented himself very well, and how many doors they get to and are able to get across their message. So we'll see how that comes.
Tina, the current MP for Brampton East is not running because there are some questions, some issues that arose for him over there. Again, I asked about the same ethical issues came up where the Prime Minister was found in breach of our ethical rules by the Ethics Commissioner. How concerned should Mr. Sidhu be against that background, even though he had over 23,000 votes for the Liberals in the last election, 13,000 above the Conservatives who came closest to him? Should he be concerned that he's taking over from someone who had some issues surrounding him, a Prime Minister have some issues, or should he be confident in the numbers that he have over there?
I would hope that he is concerned about it because I would hope that people are thoroughly concerned about it. But it's politics. So the reality of it is, if he is the one that if he has a good team, I think they would definitely be in touch with him and the gentleman, and they would create an alliance. I think there's a lot of people that still like the gentleman that ran, and I think that a lot of people maybe don't know the full story or don't understand the story, and so it's kind of. And it's also hidden or swept under the carpet. So I do think it's going to be a force to be reckoned with that way for Ramona and the NDP candidate. Both of them have a kind of an uphill battle there. I agree with Mario on this. It's going to be a very, very interesting election to watch over there because they're very good candidates and they're very brilliant. It's almost like they took top three kind of candidates and put them in one area together.
Both are all three are young, bright people right over there.
Right, they really represent Canada well as a whole. For all immigrants, for all people, I think we can all relate to them in so many different ways. So I think it's going to be a very interesting watch there. And I like to call them like Mario too. I think that's one of the ones I'd like to sit back and watch.
No, Mario, a few people are a bit surprised that the NDP leader did not come and run a seat in Brampton, particularly this Brampton East seat. Because prior to now, everybody was having a matchup between the NDP leader and the current member of parliament who is there. So why wasn't the NDP leader running in this seat?
Well, this is a political debate. We can go on for an hour on just this. Jagmeet did phenomenal in Brampton East, and he was the loved candidate there for so long. His brother is now the MPP in that area. I think the politics got involved. I think the Liberals handled it well. They didn't open up the nominations in other ridings early enough. Raj Grewal did not was not kicked out of caucus that early. He became an independent after. So a lot of jockeying occurred. So Jagmeet had to make a decision and decided to run in Burnaby. Hindsight's 2020. Would it have been better? Yeah, probably. But what's done is done. I think he's still a strong leader. I just don't think the optics of leadership at the NDP level is coming across, particularly across Canada. Right?
Maninder Sidhu mentioned working with his provincial counterparts to bring a university to Brampton. Bemoans the fact that he had to go all the way to Windsor to study. A number of people have been saying this. A number of candidates running for federal parties have been saying this. But the university is really the prerogative of the provincial government. It is something that they can really deliver on, or our candidates saying what they want the voters to hear.
I think so. I think there's a lot of that right now. I think they also forget that we have a university in Brampton. We have Algoma.
Oh yeah.
Right. So, if you really are a true Bramptonian, it's fair to mention that we do have one. Yeah. Can they help? Yes, of course they can help. Federally, it's always good to have them on our side. Again, I think they are running more so on campaigning on that issue. That's a campaign issue. That's all that is.
Something sort of jumped out at me that Ramona mentioned in terms of having federal jobs in Brampton. Talking about, for example, in Mississauga, where you have Immigrations Canada have a big office there and a few other big offices in Brampton. I've never really heard any of the MPs try to champion that cause, to see, if they can get federal jobs here in the city of Brampton. We have a job deficit where people always travel to go out. How important of an issue for someone to be championing that cause, Tina?
That would be huge. So that's something that a lot of the local committees have tried to bring up, is the fact that we're so short on people that want to rent office square footage in Brampton. Not only are people not coming to build it here because there's no demand here. So bringing that's one of our big lacking features, is that they call it white collar jobs. That is a huge one. If you check, I think both the BIA, New Brampton, all these committees, one of the things that is on all of their things is to push for white collar jobs. So if you suddenly have an MP that can say, listen, I can bring an office tower to town, Brampton's only going to benefit.
Absolutely.
It'd be huge for us.
Downtown Brampton had an immigration office years and years ago. In fact, a building downtown was built for that.
Really?
And it's been vacant in terms of quality. There's still tenancy there, but it's to Tina's point, an investor will actually build projects because of having a secure tenant like that. So that's a great point to advocate for those types of jobs and well-paying jobs in Brampton.
Okay. Community safety, we saw the federal government announce a couple $1 million last week for community safety in the Peel region. Ramona talked a little bit about that. How important is that to the people of Brampton, to the people of Brampton?
I think community safety is the topic across the board on all elections. It was number one on the municipal municipal election. It is now something that's very apparent in the federal. One of the points that I liked hearing as well, because I'm a strong believer in that, is the only way a federal candidate is going to influence that is in passing legislation that takes care of people who make or criminals, essentially, that are coming through a rotating type of door. And that legislation is what the federal candidates can do once they form a government, potentially.
Tina, you want to make a call? Brampton East, we have heard from all three candidates. Who will win?
My personal favorite is Ramona, obviously for many reasons. Also because she's a female representative, so I'd like to see more women in politics. I think women think differently, both on the municipal, provincial, and federal levels. So I'm hoping to see a mixture of that. But do I think she has a hard road ahead of her? Yes. She needs to work hard, but she is a favorite candidate to me.
Mario, we have heard from all three candidates in Brampton East. What do you think?
I think it's too close to call. I think they're all strong candidates. I think it's going to depend on who gets to the doors and is able to actually do the politics. Tina alluded to this as well. There are certain alliances that are formed and certain things like that, unfortunately, that do exist in particular federal politics. That being said, I think the core will be hitting the doors and getting your message across. I think, again, the Brampton East has a strong three-way race. I don't think that's can be said for all ridings in Brampton. I think that's one of the strongest three-way races in Brampton.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been On Point. Taking a look at the upcoming federal election. Brampton East, you heard from Maninder Sidhu, who is the Liberal candidate running over there. Also from Ms. Ramona Singh, who is the Conservative candidate. And earlier, if you go back in our archives, we had Mr. I think it was Mandeep, the NDP candidate, who was on with us. So do your research, and we encourage you to go out October 21st and cast your vote as we choose who will lead us for the next 4 years. This is On Point. Next week when we come, we take another look. We are expecting to have Miss Ruby Sahota from Brampton North, who will be joining us. So stay tuned when we bring you more information as you make your choice in election 43. This has been On Point. Thank you so much for watching.